Happy Thursday, everybody. It is time for the chicken box. Man, you know when that chicken grease gets real hot? That's how it's starting to feel outside. Finally, the signs of summer have shown up.
All right.
If you just tuned in, my name is Kevin Impeccable Peck. I go by Impeccable with my co host Jay Jackson and CEO of the Afro Dr. Draper. And this is the chicken box. If you're from the Baltimore area, you really know what chicken box is. If you're not, it's full wings, fries boxed up nicely with salt, pepper, ketchup, fried how you like it. I like it grilled now, but with potato wedges, salt, pepper, ketchup. If you're a little hungry, you join the right team. How are you today, Jay?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm hungry. Dr. Draper, you're on mute.
I know.
Oh, okay,
I was getting my chicken.
okay.
You want y'all here
Absolutely.
enjoying it. I'm doing well, thanks.
Thank you, man. We talk about black people today versus we haven't had a versus in a minute. Financial fear. What does that really mean? Financial fear. We're gonna find out today. We have a special guest joining us. I didn't even say it. I know it's almost the Afro's birthday. 134 years of inspiring, informing, and educating our people, Black people, African American people. Now we're global, all over the world. So happy almost birthday, Afro. So Jay Jackson, let's kick it off with our guest because I really want to know what this financial fear is. You might have it and not realize that you have it.
Okay. Joining us today is Dr. Anita R. Johnson, who is a financial behaviorist, educator, researcher, author, and speaker with more than 30 years of experience in in finance, higher education, and community leadership. She is the founder and CEO of Anita R. Johnson and Associates, creator of the Finding Your Financial Voice movement, and publisher of Affluence Financial Fitness for Women. Dr. Johnson specializes in psychology of money, financial behavior, financial trauma, and legacy wealth building, helping individuals and communities develop healthier financial habits and generational wealth. She holds a Ph.D. in 21st century finance from Walden University, where her research examined financial socialization among African American women. Her work has been published in leading journals, including the Journal of Financial Therapy. Dr. Johnson is also an author of Financial Erudition of African Americans, a foundational text on wealth building in the Black community, and will launch Legacy Code Conversations in July 2026, a podcast focused on financial behavior, economic empowerment, and generational wealth. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the chicken box. Listen,
Well, I'm hungry, I can tell you that.
I tell you, listen, I'm glad Jay introduced you because when she said financial, I was reading that. I kept saying behavior, behavior, behavior.
It's a part of it.
It's a word that people don't use, a financial behaviorist. So tell everybody what that is so we can get that out the way so they don't have to ask those questions at all for the rest of the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm delighted to be here. So, what is a financial behaviorist? So, a financial behaviorist is like a therapist, but on the financial side. So people come and they say, "Oh, I can't keep on task with my money. I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't understand why. I got this great well, I don't call it a budget anymore. I call it a financial spending plan." And so they come to me and say, "Help me with this." Well, you already have a good plan. You just don't know how to implement the plan or stay on task with the plan. So, what does that mean? That means there's some behaviors, how you grew up, how you view money, how money was taught to you is keeping you stagnated or having you go crazy with money, meaning spending a lot or spending less. So that's basically what I do. Sit down with people, tell them, go over what their goals are, and help them create habits, financial habits that will keep them on track. And that includes listening to triggers, understanding their triggers, and where those triggers came from.
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Johnson. You spent 30 years sort of in this intersection between finance, education, and community. What is the moment that you realized that the real barrier of wealth wasn't just information, but it was actually behavior?
No, that's a good question. Actually, it came in. I was preparing taxes for. I'm a tax preparer years ago, preparing taxes for a lot of my clients, which were women, and these women were doing six figures, high six figures, and so they were always worried about when they're going to get that $1,000 refund check or that $500 refund check. And I was like, well, you're earning six figures. What's the problem? And I find out, some of them are in debt. Some of them were single, of course, and probably living beyond their means. And so those are the things that triggered me. I can tell one specific incident that actually kind of led me down this path was when I was referred to a woman who her husband, very young, and at that time she was in her 40s, her husband had died. And I was doing the life in return. And I said, hey, bring me this, bring me the W-2, bring me this, bring me all your mortgage statements, bring me this, bring me this. And she's like, okay, so tell me what it looks like. And I was like, really? Right? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what it looks like. Because whatever he did, he put it in front of me, I signed it. And at that point, I was like, oh, what is that behavior? So that was one of the behaviors. So I had to actually print out what things look like so that she could see what it is, so she could go back and get it. So if she didn't know that part, she definitely didn't know what was in the savings account or whatever life insurance policy. She didn't know any of those things. The other incident happened when a woman had been married to her husband for over 50 years. And then he decided that he wanted a divorce. And she was a homemaker. And so at the time of the divorce, he worked for the state, and here in California, and I don't know any other states, you get half of what your husband at a time of divorce, you get half. So she got $50,000. Now, mind you, she was been married to this man for 50 years. So she got $50,000, all those years, grandkids, so forth. And she had to live off that. So she eventually had to sell the house because she couldn't live off of that. And so those are, why was that? And then I had to look at my own behavior, and I had to look at my mother's behavior. When my father and her divorce, she lived in poverty. And I wanted to know why, after all the years that she actually, we had cars, they built their own home, all kinds of things of that nature. But I needed to know why that happened. And it couldn't have been just something on a spreadsheet. It had to be something else.
Mhm.
If you just tuned in, we're talking about financial fear. We have Dr. Anita Johnson, who has wonderful books, and just her speaking just now, I'm sure it hit everybody home somewhere. And we need to be, I said, we put a little subtitle, Rewiring Your Money Habits for Legacy Wealth, which we'll get to legacy wealth in a minute. But I think it is good that we're identifying some of the problems up front. Dr. Draper, jump in.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for being with us and for the work that you do. I want to piggyback on something that Jay said. Are there common behaviors that you've seen, like you can kind of put them into categories, like therapists do for mental health? They've got a diagnosis. There's some common triggers or some common behaviors that you see over and over and over again, even though every situation is different.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. What I see is just like, our subtitle is fear. We fear money because we haven't been taught how to handle money. Right. And my work, my dissertation is about financial socialization. And have there been a conversation? And I can remember there was not a whole lot of conversation, even in our house where I grew up, and both my parents, my lineages we're all college educated people, right? And so there was no conversation about money because there's fear of money. And that's what you find is like, there's fear. There's actually fear, and we don't know how to handle that fear. I've had clients. I had one client I'm particularly thinking about, who wouldn't even open her mail. So she would bring her mail to me and I would have to open her mail. Now, can you imagine? I'm opening her mail. She's paying me to open her mail to tell her what her bills are, because, or her, I don't call them bills, her thank you notes, right? And I can tell you what that means later. But to open those thank you notes to tell her what to pay. So most of it is basically, it's a lot of fear, a lot of money scripts like, well, I need to buy this because I need to be in this big house because everybody else has a big house. I need to drive this car because everybody else drives a big car, my friends, my family. And I always tell people no is a complete sentence by itself. And so if you say, no, I don't need to do that, and you don't have to explain yourself to people why, but a lot of times that is like the one of the bottom line kind of things that I see when I'm counseling people.
Yeah, I feel like the keeping up with the Joneses is a big part of this.
That's your new name. When all these doctors are on, you know, Dr. J, not the basketball player.
No. Not tall enough for that. Or talented. Yeah, I do feel like keeping up with the Johnsons is kind of a big part of that, of everybody sort of wanting to be on whatever the bleeding edge of what the cool thing is, right? Mm-hmm. I remember when I was just out of college, someone said, "Oh, I thought you would have had like a big truck," because like, you know, big trucks were like the big thing, and I had like a Volkswagen. I was like, I don't want to buy that. Like, mm-hmm. I didn't understand like what's the need of this. I don't need it. But it's just that idea of like, you got to do this because everyone's doing it, sort of thing. Let me ask you another question here. What can you explain what the difference between financial fear and financial trauma are for folks?
Financial fear would be like, I just fear to touch my money. I just fear to touch it. My finances, I should say. I fear that. I don't know what's in the envelope. That's exactly what this particular client at that time told me. I don't want to know. I really don't want to know, but I need to know because I need to know. I'm going to take my example after I'm taking myself as an example. After my divorce, I went and bought this house, but I still didn't open the mail until one day. You know what happened? I was more reactive than I was proactive. So if something got getting ready to be turned off, then I'm hustling, trying to get it turned to make sure that it didn't get cut off. So that's a fear. The trauma comes after we have done some things. The trauma may have been my divorce. That's a trauma, a financial trauma. And we as people have been traumatized around money for a long, long time. And so that is kind of offsetting generations. We fear insurance companies, financial institutions. We fear banks. We fear our life partners, because before, when we were in relationships, people stole from us, right? You know, I have examples of where men have had women steal money from them, and vice versa. And so you have that. You have Jim Crow, redlining. You have slavery. You have all of those things, and all those things I kind of lay out in my newest book. That went back history, you know, when we were before we were enslaved people. And so that trauma has carried us through all of these generations. And, you know, and it becomes a mental, I think it becomes part of a mental illness that should be covered under your insurance, so that you can come to see people like myself and just talk about your money habits and how those things affect your family.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was just thinking the other day that I need to start having a monthly family finance meeting with my kids, mm-hmm. And eventually my grandkids. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you've heard of the family office before, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's a lot of wealthy families talk about having a family office. But I'm just thinking that if our parents didn't really talk to us about how money works, investments, insurance, trust, all kind of, estate planning. Um, you're not getting it in school. Even when you go to the best universities, they're not really teaching that at all. I think somebody, I guess, in the family has to take that responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
I would think that would be great. I know what we did with when I had my children is that we discussed it because it wasn't discussed a lot in my family. Again, now my parents didn't just leave me hanging out there. We did get ready. They did take me to the bank to open a bank account, which is, kind of normal for what we do. But the conversation, that's basically a lot of my work, which is financial socialization. So it can be implied or explicit. So we go to the bank and we open a bank account, right? And so what do we do with the bank account? What is it? It's a savings account, right? And it earns you, what, 0.20 something, right? So we don't
zero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Zero, right? On down the line, right? But if you open a money market account, that becomes a whole different conversation because at least you're getting something. Or if you use life insurance policies, and I'm not an expert on life insurance policy, that would be my co-author of another book. But you would, those are the things. Financial socialization, we need to talk about those. We need to talk about compound interest. Some of us, we didn't discover compound interest until maybe we were adults. But what we have, we need to teach our children. My son, who and he probably is going to talk about me if he's listening. One day I was talking to my son, and they live in Germany, so we were doing FaceTime with them, and he and my granddaughter were playing Monopoly, but it wasn't the Monopoly that is, the major Monopoly that we're talking about. It was Barbie Monopoly. And so it was something, and she's 12, I think, either 12 or 13. But he's gotten a game that she can relate to, but still Monopoly, right? But it's a Barbie, but it's still something that she can relate to. I was actually really proud of him because my attitude was like, have you started talking to her about money yet? And here he has, because that conversation was done in our household.
Rewiring money habits for legacy wealth.
So let me hop in for a minute. So
I know you're itching. It's money. Is our palms itching?
I can tell she is.
Does that still work?
I think I read someplace that you do these financial speed dating events. Is that?
Yes.
So,
interesting.
What's the biggest red flag that couples should look out for regarding, what do I want to call this, money alignment?
Yeah. I'm searching for the word. Okay.
How much time do we have?
Exactly. I'm searching. Well,
there's probably a lot of red flags. But what do you find?
Your spouse with money, right? One of the things I come across with couples is they don't tell each other. They should say, okay, if their money's together, and if they have maybe 3 accounts, maybe they have 3, one where he can spend, one where she can spend, and then one from the household. So
we do.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things is that, okay, if you want to make a major purchase over a certain amount of dollar, that should be in the marriage contract, so to speak, right? And you discuss it, with facts. This is the reason why we need it. This will make our life better, the pros and the cons. And then each person can have a conversation about it, as opposed to, some of us now, we'll go out and buy that boat or buy that car without, I have a client that I'm thinking of right now. She was single for a long time. So she's been taking care of herself for a long time. And she went and so she finally got married, and and they came to me. Well, they come separately because they get their taxes done separately, which they can still do that. And she's like, oh yeah, I bought a new car. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Right. And so she's like, yeah, but I just brought it home and didn't tell it. I was like, what? You did what? You just, and he was like, you know, you're supposed to tell me with this kind of stuff. She said, well, I've been so used to doing my own thing. And so when she came in this year, I said, now, did you buy another car without telling your husband? And she said, no, I got rid of it, but I leased one, but I did tell it before I leased. So those are the conversations those are the kinds of things that, you know, I think partners, life partners, husbands, wives should really have a conversation, because remember now, we're two different people, right? And we're two different people. We've been raised differently, and we have different mindsets on different things. And a lot of it, some of it is money and how money should be spent in the marriage.
Absolutely. And some of us have a different definition of what affluence is.
Well, that's true.
How do you define affluence, other than the dollar sense? What do you think?
Well, I started the magazine Affluence Financial Fitness for Women as the affluence meant to me not necessarily a lot of money, but knowing how to manage it. And so those are the kind of stories that I like to have when my contributors write, to how to maximize your knowledge of money, your knowledge of how finances work. Remember I said earlier about compound interest? A lot of us didn't know about compound interest and how it worked. See, that conversation wasn't had in my household with my parents. They may have known it, but they didn't tell me about it, right? And then I had to learn it and be able to share it with my children. And hopefully my children are sharing it with their folks.
They said that's the 10th wonder of the world. Compound interest.
Yes, it is.
You've heard that.
Make your money work for you.
If you just tuned in, this is Black people versus financial fear. Do you have financial fear? Ask yourself that question. And how can you rewire your mindset about money based on maybe where you've been, what you've gone through, and how can you feel comfortable? Do you think, Dr. Johnson, a lot of people, like a lot of couples, don't share because they're in fear or scared of what their person, their significant other is going to say? I know people used to hide, ladies used to hide bags in the trunk or in the thing, where'd you get that? You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, that just popped up. I mean,
oh yeah, that was just underneath the bed.
So is a budget important in today's age?
I don't know if it's in today's age, but I know a friend of mine, his wife died, and she had her own car, and he went in her car, and in the trunk was like 20 pairs of shoes. He said he couldn't do anything but laugh because she had hid those shoes in her car. I guess she realized, she was like, well, they hid so he'll never know it. But people do hide. I think. Is
that because of fear, you think? Of
I
being confronted about it?
I don't think it's being confronted. It's like my mother. My mother told me one time. Ooh, excuse me. She said, just because a man's gonna take you to dinner doesn't mean he's gonna pay for it. Right. So always have your own money. And so when I moved here, my mother played the piano for churches. And so, and I'm from Louisiana. Very, very small
from
town.
California, but I was just going with it.
No, it's called Oakdale, Louisiana. I think the population might have been 4,000.
Okay, wow.
Might have been 4,000. Might have been. Okay, might have been.
Shout out to
my
Oakdale.
mother. Yes. Shout out to Oakdale. and our 50th year high school
All right.
thing. And so I moved here. My mother sent me to live with her family here, and she put me on a Continental Trailway bus 3 days. And she financed that trip. And what she did is she said, go into the freezer, and there's a aluminum foil paper thing there, and there was money in there. And she said, you don't, your husband don't have to know everything you do. And so those are the things that, and I don't think that was fear. I think that was being wise. It wasn't like millions of dollars, but you know, it was enough to get me to California and get me settled until get me here until I can get myself a job and so forth and so on. So I don't think it's fear. Yeah, she was wise on that. She did tell me that now. And when I do go out, I do have my own money. At least I pretend like I got my own money.
Are you still married, Dr. Johnson?
No, I'm not.
You don't have to worry about him seeing this.
Marriage, Dr. Johnson, I do a lot of premarital counseling. In my last session, I ask every couple, bring your credit reports, and do a budget for a year after the wedding. You know, don't you can put the wedding costs there, but let's look at those as and I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised at how many people say, well, I don't think we need to look at the credit reports. I said, yeah, you do. Everybody needs to look at everything. So it is an eye opener.
Yeah.
Is that a red flag, Dr. Draper? If they don't want to look at the
if they don't want to look at it before marriage, you can believe me, they don't want to look at it
afterwards.
After marriage. And so it's not a deal breaker for most couples, but it does make folk want to talk about, well, what's that about? You know, what's that really look like? You know, why?
I mean, for me, I think you just need to know. The other person needs to know what they're getting into, because that's one of the last conversations that they have, that people before they get married, during their marriage, and one of the things that break their marriage up is finances, because because they spend too much. Or they spend less, or money is one of the biggest divorce things going on.
Of course.
I heard a pastor said that one day a couple came to him about counseling, and he said, what's the problem? He needs to make more money, and we don't never have enough money. And well, what's the problem with you, sir? Well, we ain't having no sex anymore. She's not, we're not doing it in the bedroom like we used to. He said, well, look, here's the solution. Sir, go get a part-time job, make more money, and you and you need to have sex with your husband more. So that was the solution, and get out of my office. So basically, the money and it's a big thing. So, but let's get to I don't know how you are, Dr. Johnson, spiritually. What are those principles? How do those principles work when you're spiritually aligned and you're not sharing totally? Because they usually say if you have to hide something from your spouse, it's usually sin. Usually.
Ooh, that's a deep one. I don't know if you hide money is a sin. It's
lying.
See, I told you, I was like
admitting the truth.
That's lying by omission.
Not really saying you didn't tell them.
I don't know if that. But I do think that it could be a sin or it could not be a sin, right? Meaning that I don't know if that's the 7 deadly sins. Is that the name of the book or something like that? 7 deadly. But it is sinful, I believe, because you are putting your spouse's life or livelihood in danger as well as your own. If you are spending too much or if maybe you are a little, supposedly frugal. My life partner says frugal. I'm like, no, you're not frugal. You're just tight. Right. And so, and so,
Is tight the word you use, or is it,
I use tight.
cheap usually comes out around
Tight with a dollar.
Yeah, he'll make that dollar. He makes that quarter cry. Okay. Which is okay.
Right.
It's his
Especially when
money.
they're doing away with all of the coins now. So
Right.
he's in trouble. You got to
Yeah.
move up to the dollar soon.
Yeah, exactly. He makes the quarters. He make the quarter cry. Okay.
Guys, we're laughing, but this is the Afro Chicken Box. We have Dr. Anita Johnson, who's helping us rewire our money habits. But first of all, you got to talk about it. So we're glad that we're even on this, podcast today talking about money. Okay, we laugh about it, but it is a serious situation when it gets into the GoFundMe's and this. You haven't made any estate planning. Mama done died. Everybody doesn't have enough money to bury her, and you're running and you're wondering what choices you made along the way, and then generationally, who's going to break the curse? Who is going to actually get rewired for the next generation? And so let's move in a little bit to legacy wealth in the conversation. Why don't you put her book up, Asia, for us, or her website where you can get the book. We need to get information about finances, guys. And money has a system. I believe a lot of systems out there. You got all kind of systems, financial systems. You got plumbing systems. You got all kind of systems. So what is the system that is working for your finances? And if you're in the kingdom, God even has a money system, which trumps pretty much all of the systems, because you can't really figure it out because it's his system design. But you have fear sometimes that even the one that created you is going to be wrong about money when he's telling you the right thing about money. So I'm putting that out there for free for people who constantly have money problems and you believe in God. And I said, just try tithing for 12 months and then check back with me and see if your money hasn't changed. Anyway, everybody looking at me funny. How y'all doing out there? You good? Everybody?
Yeah, good.
Dr. J Jackson. Oh, Dr. J. Come on, baby. Shoot the jump.
Okay.
I know you got some questions out there.
I do. As far as the legacy wealth goes, that it's in the title of this episode. But what does legacy wealth actually mean to our community, where we have historically been excluded from having it, right? This idea of, you mentioned earlier, redlining and things like that. Obviously everybody, if they don't know, at least they should know, the easiest way to gain generational wealth, is home ownership, right? This is a way for us to buy a house, you pass it on, or you sell it, you buy a bigger house, that's so on and so forth. We have been so historically denied this ability. So how do we convince folks that, fast money isn't kind of long money? And, how do you kind of shift that paradigm?
That's a good question. One of the things, and yes, home ownership is one of the ways that that we can have generational wealth. And so let me address the generational wealth part first. Okay. So generational wealth is not my granddaughter. Okay. Generational wealth is her granddaughter and her granddaughter and her granddaughter. That's what generational wealth is. And sometimes we as a people don't understand that concept. And so let's get that concept down first. And then, so yes, home ownership is that. Also, certain life insurance policies, certain savings, mutual funds, stocks. We as a people generally do not understand how these things work because of not generational wealth, but financial socialization handed down from generation to generation. I had to learn how the stock market works, right? So why I think I saw something on, I don't think it was Facebook or something like that, where one of the kids says, my mother owns 5 or 6 or 7 pairs of Jordan, but she don't have any stock in it. So that is something that we have to learn to do. We as a people have to learn to own some stock where we buy. Okay, own some stock where we buy, and buy within our community. Go to the grocery store that is Black owned. Go to what come to where you guys are. Buy from those people, because now you are spending in the community. A small business can send their child to college if they want to go, or tech school, or whatever it is, or they can put some food on the table. Learn how to farm, right? Go to Black farmers market, those type of things. So that's how we're going to learn to deal with generational wealth. Yes, home ownership is one, but it's always some other things there too. And that's one of the quickest ways, or the most, I don't think it's the quickest way, but that's one of the ways that we can do that, along with some other things.
I heard you mention tight earlier, Dr. Johnson. Do you believe in the poverty mindset?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You want to speak to that a little bit? Yeah,
I do. I believe when we have grown up in poverty, and that's why I say about my life partner, he grew up poor. And so what happens is, and he has definitely provided for himself and his children, right? So they will have his grandchildren and great grandchildren and so forth will be definitely taken care of. And I may tease him about that quarter being tight, but he's built it's generational wealth. And the reason why I think he did is because he grew up so poor. And see, here I am, I may have not grown up poor, but I don't know a lot. I didn't have a lot of conversation around money. And he didn't have a lot of conversation around money, but he knew he didn't want his kids to be like him. I'm losing my voice here. But anyway, that's what
all that money. You're talking about all that
that money in my throat.
You talk about financial fear. I think you definitely have to rewire your mindset, because it's tons of stories of people who grew up poor and ended up barely going to college or anything, and are financially set based on some money decisions. We learn about everything we want to learn about. We laugh at the funny things on social media all day long, but we spend no time to learn about financial legacies, about how money works, and then we wonder why it's not working.
Exactly. Yeah.
You ain't put no time into how the money works, and then you are in fear because you're in fear. You got $5,000 in the bank. In the bank, okay, which is the worst place to have it, because it's not making any money for anybody but the bank, because they can lend 7 to 10 times on every dollar that you have deposited. So they killing it. The bank is killing it every day with our money, and you are in fear to move it into even a money market account, or into some type of brokerage account, or to invest in your first stock, or to put it into a life insurance. That $5,000, when you look at it in that bank and they say what the interest was for the month, check your bank statement, guys. Last month, you didn't even make $1 off of that $5,000, and you're in fear. You're in fear of moving it somewhere, or maybe you don't know where to move it, and so you don't move it.
Right.
So what can we do to just get on the right path, Dr.
Johnson? As you were talking, one of the things there's a lot of financial information out there. There's a lot, right? So for me, there's a difference between financial literacy and financial knowledge. Literacy is everywhere, Okay, you got it on paper, you got it in the books, you got it all, you have it everywhere. But financial knowledge is just what you said. You got $5,000 in the bank and it's not going anywhere. And so you need to have the knowledge or the wherewithal to where to put it. And where would you go to get that? Do you go to of some kind of financial institution? Or where do you go? And so there's to know that you have Jordans and you don't have stock in Jordans. That's knowledge. That's knowledge. Financial literacy is I got the $5,000. Okay, I'm educated enough to even save the money to have that, save the money. But to where it is knowledge. So we need to recognize the difference between literacy and education, literacy and financial education, financial literacy and financial education, and the knowledge. So literacy is everywhere. It's on your billboards. It's everywhere. But what do you do with financial education? That's the difference.
Well, that was good, Dr. Johnson. Do you find that many people just have a fear of being broke? It's the money in the freezer and aluminum. I had an aunt that always had, I don't mean sometimes, she always had at least $200 or $300 bills. I knew exactly where they were. She, under the mattress or something like that. Because she came through the depression. Fear of being broke.
Right. That is a fear of being broke. And that's because of the upbringing that she had, or where what she came through. So one of the things is that I always tell myself that we should always be prepared for something to go wrong. Right? I don't know if I want to use the word something to go wrong, but we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared, right? Like when the pandemic happened, right? We were not prepared. But what I looked at is, what's the opportunity I have now? The crisis that we're in now. How do we prepare? We should have been prepared for another crisis happening, right? And so, gas prices, I don't know where gas prices are in your state, but gas prices is $6 something here, right? So, right? And so being prepared for that. It doesn't mean that you just never spend or you never enjoy your finances or your money. You never go anywhere. But we need to be prepared. What is the opportunities that we are looking at today? And today, how can we be prepared? Take, for instance, myself. What I did was, food prices are extremely high. So I have a plot I have a 1/4 of an acre now. And so, yes, I'm out there planting food and planting garden. I'm doing gardening, right? And a lot of my friends are like, oh, Miss Dr. Johnson, bougie Dr. Johnson got hands in dirt. And my attitude was, I got to eat. And I think I posted on Facebook maybe 2 weeks ago, where I bought a bag of food and it cost me $69. And I was like, this is crazy. But I had already started the gardening. So we have to look for opportunities that will actually enhance our lives, as well as teach us, educate us. And then, so when the foods in the grocery stores gets to be outrageous, because this is not the end of this, we still can eat. And we don't have to eat beans and rice. We can have greens like we like them. Okay. And so we have to look for those opportunities. It's a mindset. It really is. Like I said, it's a mindset. It's like, we talked about savings account. We mentioned savings earlier. When people come to me, I say, okay, we're not saving we're not going to call this bank account a savings. The bank may call it a savings, but we're going to call it an investment account, not necessarily an investment account in the stock market, but you're going to put money in that particular savings account because you're investing in something. What are you going to invest? Make sure your money has a purpose, because if we're working all the time and then there's no purpose for the money, nothing but to pay thank you notes, then we're just going to be mad with ourselves all the time, because we're going to be paying the gas bill, the light bill, this, the mortgage and stuff, and we're not going to be happy. But we're going to be just not happy about having a mortgage, right? Instead of appreciating the mortgage payment that comes in, the mortgage thing that comes in, saying, thank you, I have a place to live and I have the wherewithal to pay it. So we have to, that's the whole mindset relationship. And yes, we do have to spend time with our money to know what it's doing.
There you go. What you inspect or gets checked, gets managed, right?
Yeah, right.
You can act like you know what's going on and never look at your bank account if you want to. They say if you really want to know what you are into and love, check your checkbook ledger. And you'll find out exactly what you are sending your money out to do or not to do, or where you're spending it. Guys, this has been a great conversation about finances. Dr. Johnson, thank you for writing the book Affluence, because a lot of people don't think it's, they're like, oh, that's not me. That's only him. That's only her. I can't get there. But you can. You absolutely can get there. Everybody was at a place where the money was funny, the money was low. You had a $200 credit card that they gave you in college and you maxed it out, and then you got it went to collections. I'm talking about myself here, and all kind of things of money less than that you learn. Anybody else?
Say, no, you're not, but go ahead.
Right. About all of us. Right. Like, why are they sitting? Why are these credit card companies sitting right here in the college when we come? Anyway, because they know that you're probably going to fumble the ball. You're going to max out your credit card. You're going to be spending them more interest. You're going to be able to make just enough to that $25 payment. Guys, the setup is interest free for a year. Listen, if you don't pay that back in a year, that compounded interest that they stack on to that purchase that you made at Best Buy or wherever else, they're banking on you not paying it back. 80% of the people don't pay it back in a year, and they love it. That's why they always say, here, transfer your money over here. Do this with zero interest. Pay attention, people. The signs are all around us. I mean, this is really my conversation, Dr. Johnson. I've been trying to hold back, but when I was young, I learned something about the 80-10-10, which is I gave 10% off the top, off the gross, went to God. 10% went to me. I paid myself first, and I lived off of 80. And that's how I started to make enough money to finally begin to invest. So if you are starting from somewhere, try giving 10 away, paying yourself 10, and seeing if you can live off 80. And then look in your account and you would have saved some money. Okay, you might have to skip Starbucks. Definitely skip Uber Eats, guys.
Lord.
You got so lazy. We're not even. Listen, that Uber Eats bill is going to save you enough money even to buy an Afro subscription for $40 a year. It's not a shameless plug. It is the plug, because we are the information source for our people. And hopefully you share this, or you get off your financial ledge of fear and change your mindset, even if it's just getting a book like Dr. Johnson's book that will unlock your mind about financial fear. We're about to get on the Boxx, guys. The hour is near. The finances are here. And there's no fear. I love it. I almost feel like I could rap for a second. Jay, I'm going to put you in the box.
Okay.
Anything you want to say about money, even if you feel a way that you have to, there's something you want to unlock in yourself. it's going to help somebody else. Jay,
Okay.
you're on the box.
Okay. First, I'll put my my donation link in the chat for anybody who wants to help out. No, but in all seriousness, no, I think what Dr. Johnson is doing here is actually excellent work because, you know, obviously financial literacy and having that sort of generational wealth and just having an understanding of your own finances and, in your case, Dr. Johnson, understanding people's fear and trauma around money, especially Black folks historically, how they feel about money is, I think, incredibly important. You know, we're not here to, you know, lecture anybody, but I do think a lot of times in our community we think that kind of fast money is, you know, more important, and a lot of that comes from a number of points in our history, but, you know, a lot of us don't live that long. And so it's kind of like, what do I need to worry about these next generations or, you know, 50 years from now and things like that, unfortunately. So I think this idea of addressing the behaviors and understanding what those are is an actual solution to the problem, instead of saying, just put your money in a, you know, in an account. But if you don't, you know, kind of point at the root cause of the issue, that money will just get pulled out of that account and used for some nonsense, right? But what you're doing, I think, is good, which is combining, you know, these actual solutions and digging at the root of the problem. So I appreciate you what you're doing, and I think this can be extremely helpful to a lot of folks in and outside of our community, but especially inside. So thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
how you feel, Jay? You're not going to share? Okay.
Oh, I was terrible. Look here, I'll give you a little bit personal history here, not getting too deep into it. But I have ADHD, right? And a big part of that has like affected my views on money and like how I handle money. Spoiler alert, terribly for a very long time. But once I sort of sorted that out, I got much better with it because I had like impulse control type of thing. Like, I'm just going to go buy that TV. Like, what's the worst that could happen, right? Like a lot of things. So, and sort of that avoidance and everything else. But dealing with that, again, that's dealing with a root cause issue instead of just saying, you know, just try harder. That doesn't work, right? So to what Dr. Johnson is saying, if you're dealing with these sort of these behaviors and figuring out what has caused them, the fear, trauma, you know, like my type of issue, right? Then you can actually start to fix those things and move on from there. So again, there you go. That's I appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks for sharing. You help somebody, Jay. Dr. Draper,
Go to the doctors.
CEO, yeah. Dr. Dre.
Boy, so much to say. First, let me say thank you, Dr. Johnson, for the work that you are doing. There are a lot of people who are financial advisors. I used to be a account executive stockbroker for Merrill Lynch, and so a whole lot of people are financial advisors. And, you know, my allergies are acting up, so hopefully that doesn't sound too nasally. But anyway, but there are not too many people that deal with the mindset that really makes you dig deeper into your financial behaviors and what you can do to change them, but really what your triggers are. Because all of us have triggers. And Jay, we don't have a formal diagnosis. We just have the triggers, right? So whether it's 20 pair of shoes in the trunk, or whether it's, wait a minute, let me clean my closet out and I already have 3 red dresses. Why do I need, well, I know why I need a red dress. I already have 3 blue dresses. Why do I need a 4th, blue dress? But anyway, so it's mindset. Some of it is because we fear being poor, so we do things to try to mitigate that. And some we fear, I think, being affluent as well. Right? I think people have a fear about what that, all of that goes along with that. And the generational wealth piece, the legacy building, the leaving to a, not your grandchildren, but their grandchildren and their grandchildren after that. I don't think it's something that enters into people's minds, because we do think that maybe the home is the only thing that we pass along. And many times that's not, those deeds aren't straight, and we can't even really pass those along. Because the way we pass it along is grandmama and them were there and somebody died and the next person came and we never got the whole deed thing straight. A lot of that goes on in our community. So thank you for helping us to think through wealth. And you didn't say it, but I believe that wealth is more than money. money can give you wealth, but you know, wealth is really more than money. It's also understanding what to do with assets that could convert to
Mhm.
something that improves our condition. And I'll take full credit for this. I taught Impeccable the 80-10-10 principle, by the way. That,
Facts,
that's a little inside joke. I'm off the box.
facts. Thanks for tuning in, Dr. Johnson. You have forced us into a conversation that we need to have more, definitely in our community, and knowledge is power, and that is true. And those who want to get the knowledge will have the power. So, but I believe in finances in God's kingdom system. And my favorite scripture, guys, in since college has been Matthew 6:33, which is seek. God already knows everything that you really need.
Mhm.
Really know because He's got your back, but you don't really believe it a lot of times, and you don't trust it that He has your back, even though He created you. So you have not put your trust in that space because you're trusting everything else. A lot of times you
Mhm.
trust yourself, then you have no idea of how much you keep messing it up. And you speak poverty over your life usually on a daily
Mhm.
basis. I'm so broke. I don't have enough
Mhm.
money. I don't have like your whole conversation of what you speak is lack. So you keep speaking lack in your life, and that is what you are attracting instead of affluence, abundance. You're not speaking the things that even bring you closer to what it is you say that you want. And then they say you have not because you ask not, but you don't even know what to ask because you really still have a
Mhm.
poverty mindset. So out of what you're thinking and what's in your heart, just manifest on a regular basis, day in and day out, and your finances don't change. So as I said earlier, you're not going to beat the kingdom system because God's money system beats compound interest. One and one doesn't equal two. One and one could equal 2 million. One and one could equal 2,000. Dr. Johnson and myself and all four of us could just come up with $1 billion company right here. So one and four could equal 5 billion. But it's all how you think about it. But you're thinking that it's not possible when really it is possible because the system has been created for it. It's just like if the toilet system. Well, I don't know. Let me not use the toilet. Let me use the lawn, grass cutting system. I like that system better. If you take your bicycle and you think you're going to cut the grass just because you're riding over the grass, you're never going to get it cut. And that's how some of our finances are. We have the wrong system working, and that's the reason that your money's not working. So I'm off the box, y'all. 80-10-10. Pay yourself, pay God first, then yourself, then live off 80%. Check back in with me with a year. Anybody, share with your kids. Even if you're giving them some money, teach them that principle early so that they can carry that on and begin to build some wealth so that they can invest. Because you want to get to the point where you're not trading time for dollars. You want your
Mhm.
money to be working for you while you sleep. That's what they call sleep money. And I'm off the box, y'all. Dr. Johnson, you are on the box. You can act crazy. You can say,
Whoa.
you said nothing is off
Oh
limits.
boy.
All
I
right, so
don't know.
let it loose on him, Dr. Johnson. So, you're officially on the box.
uh, I do want to tell one thing one thing I do is I have an affirmation, and you can write this. It's a money affirmation. Okay. And so my money affirmation is I woke up this morning to the smell of abundance. And you mentioned about how we talk about I'm so broke, I'm this and that, right? And so if you continue to say that, then you will continue to be that way, right? So so you want to you want to first have a relationship with your money. You have to have it, which means you have to have time with it. You can't spend like 5 minutes here and 10 minutes here, or like I used to be, and sometimes I still do, reactive, right? Like you cannot be active. You have to be proactive when it comes to your finances. You have to be proactive, meaning you have to plan. You have to know when things are due, know when you have what you've paid, know what you want in your future, have a purpose for your money. So make sure you have a purpose, because going to work every day, owning your own business every day, and it's not joyful for you, then you don't like that. You don't like it. You might like the way you working and stuff, but if your money is you got more month than money, you have nothing invested instead of saved, invested instead of those are the kinds of things that you will push you forward into that. Know what your triggers are. I'm still learning my triggers, right? Being a single woman, empty nester, right? I have to still keep myself from buying 3 pairs of shoes at one time. so I have to have that relationship. So I'm bringing that back to me too now. When people come to me, they say, Dr. Johnson, you probably have never seen anything like this when they come to their finances. And I say, honey, if I ain't seen it, I done it. Okay. So I let them know, I can talk about this, and we're not talking about way back when. Sometimes I can get off track too. So I want people to have consider themselves, consider yourself to get a affirmation, and why you do what you do with your money. What is it? What's in your childhood? How was you raised? I was spoiled a little bit. So when I say I deserve, then I would say to my daddy, bless his heart, I deserve, right? And then when my daddy started cutting me off, I was like, where's my money? And my daddy's like, this not your money, this my money, right? So have a relationship, know what your triggers are, and get you an affirmation, and stop saying you're broke. Just stop saying it. I guess I'm off the box now.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Was that the awkward moment of silence? I'm sorry, my phone right here.
No,
who's the host here?
We're waiting on you.
That's what happened. We had 3 co-hosts, but usually
listen, guys, get your money in, get your money right. You know what I mean? It's not, they got songs, wait till I get my money right, money.
Get your mind right, then your money.
Get your mind right. That's right. Get your mind right. Thank you for tuning in to the Chicken Box. Dr. Johnson, thank you for the work you do.
Thank you for having me. I
Jay
appreciate
and Dr. Draper, thank you guys. I'm going to get my doctorate online tonight, and I'll be able to join you guys. Remember, be kind to a senior. We've already heard of stories of how some of their situations are, and how some of their money is very tight, not because they want it to be, but just because they may not have the ability to earn the way they should. So send them a love offering, send them some food, go bring them some food, pick up the phone and say hello. They're looking forward to your calls. So until next week, this is Impeccable, Dr. Draper, Dr. Jackson, and Dr. Johnson. You are always now a friend of the Afro, and you are officially in the Afro archives in 133 years, almost 134. So you know how we can look back and see newspapers. Our future will look back and see videos. So you'll be on and in the archives. So now, thank you for joining us. And guys, until next time, God willing, we will see you soon. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Asia, our producer.